who is, I think we're going to start with Reed. Yeah, he's going to be on your right, member of Team Ultimate Guard, playing green-red monsters.
They're so mad. They've been sitting there for half an hour.
They'll be okay. They'll be okay.
I know how that feels, though.
Owen is playing black-red hollow one. You've got William Jensen playing Sneak and Show against. Eli Hamblet playing blue-white control. Gabe Shwartz playing Goryo's Vengeance. And Christopher Gosselin playing Reanimator.
That's a lot of Griselbrand on one team.
They're not messing around over there. That's probably 8 Griselbrands over there?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine. I mean, sometimes Reanimator plays fewer, and that, you know, that's stupid. But
Reed with the Mountain. We've got Eli Hamblet with an irrigated farmland into a plains. Now, obviously, blue-white control, kind of the deck coming in to beat this weekend. Reed playing a very heavy green-red creature deck. Monsters include like Rekindling Phoenix, Glorybringer. You see a forest here from Reed. He's got Mana Acceleration and Land of War Elves and Servant of the Conduit. Search for his Conte here for Eli to get his deck online. How do you think this matchup shakes out in the early stages of things?
Well, I'm pretty sure Reed Duke kept a hand featuring stuff like Magma Spray and Abrade. He did not play a 1 or a 2 drop. So I think he's in a little bit of trouble. This blue-eye control deck, you know, they got Search for Escanta on the battlefield quickly, and when they do that and get to untap with no creatures putting pressure on them, I mean, I'm not going to say the game's over, but, I mean, look at his hand. 2 copies of Disallow. Reed has no threats.
He's got a Land of War Elf.
It's over.
He's got a Land of War Elf right now.
This game is already over.
Oh, we're all done? Yeah.
I mean, not really. Like, sometimes the blue-eye deck just falters and dies. But, I mean, when you already have Search for Escanta, and it's going to flip before he's under any real pressure.
Eli did leave his card on top there with Search. Going to play his 4th land in a Plains. Now, of course, with blue-white control, as here is a Rekindling Phoenix from Reed, you want to play on your opponent's turn. That means Glimmer of Genius or Hieroglyphic Illumination to be able to draw some cards. You've got counter spells, and it looks like we're going to see one here in Disallow.
Yeah, I mean, even though he's using a Disallow here on the Rekindling Phoenix, taking 1 from the Ipnu Rivulette, you know what? I'm just going to say I pronounced that right.
You did get that right, actually. It is Ipnu Rivulette.
Ipnu Rivulette. So he's going to take a damage off of that. But the thing about Rekindling Phoenix is it's really good when your opponent has a bunch of removal that doesn't exile. And the blue-eye deck has primarily removal spells that exile. So it's not quite as good in this matchup as it could be. It does help get around things like Fumigate, which is nice. Are there any copies of Fumigate in his deck list?
3 in the main, actually. Eli's playing quite a few. You've got 3 Fumigates here, 3 copies of Settle the Wreckage, and then 4 of a new card from Dominaria that I think Rekindling Things has some issues with. Yeah, and Seal Away.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would much rather see a green-red monsters deck that had something like Blossoming Defense to help get around these types of things.
Okay.
I think that cards like Rekindling Phoenix. What is happening here?
We'll find out.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Maybe he's okay. No, I'm more so just trying to figure out like what the holdup is.
Yeah, I'm curious if the Disallow is resolving or not resolving. I think that is the question right now.
Okay. Maybe he just missed the damage and he's getting a stern talking to.
Yeah, we'll
That'd
have to
be my
find out.
guess. Anyway.
Pull out to the 3 shot.
That's fine. So this matchup in particular is going to be on whether or not Reed Duke is able to continually play a bunch of threats over the course of the next 4 turns. And if Eli is able to answer them all, then, you know, he's going to win the game. That from the control perspective, if any of these big threats like Glorybringer or Rekindling Phoenix or even Varric's Bladewing, which there is 1 copy in his deck, if any of these stick to the battlefield, it's going to be pretty tough for the blue-eye deck to actually deal with them. But, you know, he's got a bunch of counter spells, a bunch of removal, Settle the Wreckage, Fumigate. I don't like Reed's chances, honestly, in this matchup.
I think game 1's going to be tough.
Oh, for sure. He's got Magma Sprays, Abrades, like actual dead cards. You know, they kill Torrential Gearhulk, the 2 of. That's it. You know, but that's not where Torrential Gearhulk is gaining most of its value. It's usually gaining the value off of flashing back a card draw spell or a counter spell, you know.
So we're going to see these 2 players eventually get this resolved here. As you see our other 2 matches, it looks like Owen Turtenwald is going to be resolving some sort of Goblin Lore or Burning Inquiry. Turtenwald playing Black-Red Hollow One. Gabe Shwartz playing Goryo's Vengeance. How do we think that matchup goes? Hollow One versus Goryo's Vengeance.
Oh, honestly, Owen might accidentally quarry his opponent's creature into the graveyard.
That's probably not great. Right?
I'm guessing the Goryo's Vengeance deck pretty favored game 1. I think let's see. We can check Owen's deck list real fast here. But if he has a bunch of Leyline of the Void in the sideboard, where is it? Leyline of the Void. Yes. Okay. He does have 4 copies of Leyline of the Void in the sideboard, which are generally pretty good in that matchup. So,
We'll do a quick look in here of Turtenwald versus Shwartz while Duke and Hamblet get their situation sorted out. You see Turtenwald's battlefield here of 3 hollow ones, 2 bloodghast, a couple of lands. This is a faithless looting for Gabe Shwartz. He'll draw 2 and, of course, discard 2 cards here.
Yeah, so, I mean, at this point, just flashing in here, not quite dead this turn. You know, that is, what, 16 power? Oh, wait, no, the life totals are probably wrong because the hollow ones are turned sideways. Yep. So he's probably at 11 would be my guess. So he is dead if he doesn't go for the combo this turn. He already has the Gristlebrand in the graveyard. If he's able to hit land Goro's Vengeance, very likely to kill. Like, this deck is very good at killing once it gets Gristlebrand onto the battlefield, especially hasted, attacking in the air for 7 to draw 7 extra cards. Nourishing Shoal, things like that. I see a Borbrigmos in Rage and a Nourishing Shoal in hand. So if he has it, you know, we'll see. Oh, actually, no. I think he does have it. I think he has Through the Breach. He can splice Through the Breach with Desperate Ritual, Simian Spirit Guide onto a free Nourishing Shoal. I don't know what he's having to discard, but I think he actually has the ability to put a creature from his hand onto the battlefield.
Okay.
If it's just a Borborygmos, though, that's not good enough.
That's not going to be close to good enough. Going to need a Gristlebrand to get this party started.
I guess he actually might be able to do it with Worldspine Worm, because Worldspine Worm would be able to hit for 15 and then make 3 5/5s at the end step, because you sacrifice it with
Through the Breach.
With Through the Breach. Yeah. So he could have that.
All right, here's a Black Leaf Glyphs.
Looks like his hand. Oh, he might have to Nourishing Shoal, pitch Nourishing Shoal. Oh, he does have the Worldspine Worm. He has it.
All right, he's just going to pass.
All right, he's going to – I don't know if he's going to put in Borborygmos or Worldspine Worm. My guess is Worldspine Worm. So he's going to exile the Borborygmos, Desperate Ritual, Simian Spirit Guide, splice under the Nourishing Shoal, put Worldspine Worm into play, so he gains 8 off of the Borborygmos or however much, blocks a hollow 1, takes 12, and then can swing back for like 15. I'm assuming that Owen is actually at less than 20. My guess, 16. Street Wraith Cycle, maybe 15 with a fetch land, so it might actually be all of it.
Okay.
Just 15, just all of it?
Well, here's a Faithless Looting from Turtenwald. 2-time Player of the Year, of course. He's going to discard 2 cards. One of which is a Flame Wake Phoenix. Now Owen will play a Mountain. He'll get Flame Wake Phoenix back. Let's make it 2 of them, actually. And now Turtenwald's going to attack. So we're going to see right now whether Gabe Shwartz has it or not, because now would be the time
I
to
am confident that he has it. I just don't know if he knows he has it. So let's see. Let's say he's at 11. If he gains 8 back up to 19, he can block one of those, takes 12, 16, 18. He'll go to 1. If he's at 11 right now and he goes up to 19, he will survive and exact seize Owen Turtenwald, if my math is right.
All right, we're going to find out here in just a moment. No time like the present.
This is crazy. If I'm right, you know, this is me using context clues. I mean, I'm just using context clues here. You know, he has a Street Wraith in the graveyard, a fetch land in the graveyard. That could easily be, a discarded fetch land, so he might actually be at 16. So.
Well, since we're going to stay here for a minute, we will get our life totals updated. Looks like Turtenwald's at 13, and Shwartz is at 12. So now,
bang!
He's going to gain some life.
Oh, no, he did the wrong one. No.
Worldspine Worm is gone. That's 15 life.
Oh, he's not even doing it. I'm going to walk up to this dude after the match. I'm going to be like, look, Gabe, do you know how these cards work? You can. I know Splice is a stupid, old, weird mechanic from Kamigawa that never comes up, but you're playing the one deck where it comes up.
Oh, he just drew another
I could be wrong. Actually, he might have discarded the Desperate Ritual with the Faithless Looting, and he might not have had all of the pieces there. So it's understandable if he didn't have it. All the lines I was going through with the Nourishing Shoal and such. Well, he also gained 15 with Worldspine Worm and is at 3, so maybe his life was different also. Who knows?
You see the
I'm trying.
Here. You see the hand here Through the Breach.
Flashback Faithless Looting. That's not going to work.
That's going to be a tough way to do it.
Discarded.
Night's Whisper and a
land.
land.
Yeah. Night's Whisper. That's exactly what you want in this spot. Night's Whisper.
All right. Gave it back to the other match here between Reed Duke and Eli Hamblet. So Turtenwald's going to win game number 1.
He did.
Hamblet on your left. No infraction here for Eli Hamblet after a lengthy judge call with the disallow. And now Llanowar Elves will come into the red zone. We'll get the live totals updated here.
Yeah, so I believe Eli's going to be at 18. He was at 19 from the Ipnu Rivulet. Took one from the Llanowar Elf. No other creatures played early in the game and pressured. Putting any pressure, so Reed obviously going to be at 20. The search for Azcanta, though, has its own form of pressure that you have to really be worried about Reed Duke. As the game progresses, if Reed is not able to force Eli to tap out basically every turn, he's going to start being able to use the backside search for Azcanta, which is Azcanta the Ruin, really pull far ahead and draw a bunch of free cards.
Merfolk Branchwalker Duke is going to accept Merfolk Branchwalker. Duke is going to place that into the graveyard. Branchwalker become a 3/2.
Yeah, that's definitely the place for Merfolk Branchwalker graveyard. I don't really like that card very much. I'm in the Brad Nelson camp of this card should probably not be in your deck. If there is a mid-range deck that it should be in, though, I think this is probably it.
I think this is a good spot for it. You're happy with lands or just the 3/2 to get the game started?
Yeah, I mean, the 3/2 body, not too shabby. A 2/1 that draws a land card, pretty good in a deck that has a bunch of 4 and 5 drops. So it's not bad here. I'm generally not a fan.
Search for Azcanta, a little reveal there for Hamblet. Going to keep the card on top. 5 mana, just going to pass the turn back over to Duke, who's got that 3/2 Branchwalker. Llanowar Elves, a couple of cards in hand here for Reed. You see the lands, among them the Hashep Oasis, the most relevant. We might see a Settle the Wreckage here from Hamblet.
Looks like a Seal Away. And
instead.
he does have a Disallow in hand, holding that up to make sure he doesn't get, trounced by a post-combat Chandra Torch of Defiance. That card, very problematic for control decks in general, unless they have, some sort of enchantment to exile it.
Hashep Oasis, the land for Reed. He just passes the turn back. Hamblet's going to put a Search for Azcanta into the graveyard from his search trigger. Draw a card, not play a land, simply pass the turn back. So, of course, that means he's got all spells in his hand, which is probably not a great thing for Duke to realize as Reed plays land number 7.
I mean, that's also not that good for Eli either, honestly. I mean, he definitely wants to be hitting his land drops. And missing them here means, yes, he has spells in hand, but he might not be able to double spell on a key turn. Reed Duke here putting the screws to Eli with Hashep Oasis on a Llanowar Elf. Is that a square? That should be a square.
I don't think that's a square in your bingo board. No, not just yet. Not just yet.
Honestly, I've only glanced at it, so I'm actually curious to see if I'm. Llanowar Elves taps for mana on the second turn. Not yet. I missed that one. Okay.
Not yet.
You're right. I am getting into it. I was hesitant at first about the bingo.
Yeah, he didn't think he was going to like bingo. Everyone comes around eventually. It's okay. We know what we're doing here. Hamblet actually turned over an Approach of the Second Sons and placed that into his graveyard. So those of you wondering at home how he's going to go out winning the game, he's got 2 copies of Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, which we'll get to once that arrives, and then 2 copies of Torrential Gearhawk. So a couple different ways to win the game. Yeah,
I mean, the blue-white control deck doesn't need that many. There's the old joke of, the deck can win with a ham sandwich, and that's for standard ever since Torrential Gearhawk was printed. You can win with Approach of the Second Son, you can win with Torrential Gearhawk, once you have Search for Azcanta going, that's your real win condition.
You'll win eventually.
You'll win eventually. Just, you got to find it. I've actually lost the game to a blue-white control deck by getting decked because of Ipnu Rivulet, which is half the reason why it's in the deck, the other half being you can flip Search for Azcanta more quickly if you want to. Since lands, Eli choosing not to do that, obviously, just wanting to make sure he has enough mana to cast Torrential Gearhawk.
Which is what he's going to cast, right now. And it looks like it's going to be a Glimmer of Genius that he'll be recasting from the graveyard.
Yeah, that energy being irrelevant, I'm almost positive. Generally speaking, the Scry a little more powerful than the cycling one.
Hieroglyphic Illumination.
Hieroglyphic Illumination, sorry, it escaped me for a moment. The 2 Scries being very powerful, but being able to cycle Hieroglyphic Illumination early on is very good. And, surprise more people opposed to that card. You don't really want that 4-mana spell in your hand early. You want more interaction, and you want to draw it later in the game. And if you get stuck with an extra mana floating around, you can cycle the Illumination and then hit it later with a Gearhulk. And since you want to hit most of your land drops, you don't really care what those 2 cards are. It could be a land spell, like when you're under a ton of pressure, sure.
Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, has now arrived. Let's talk about this card.
Do we have to?
We do.
It's very good.
Yeah, we do.
We get it. You know, it's stupid because you have to untap tapped lands. That's just a rule. I don't know why that's a rule. I don't know why it can't just target 2 lands at the end step. But if you have no lands tapped and you go to your end step, you have to untap your opponent's lands. I hate that.
Really?
Very good.
I did not know that, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you know what? That's what it is on Moto.
Sure.
So,
That's probably how it works.
I don't know.
Here's the front half of Struggle to Survive. Struggle's going to take care of Torrential Gearhulk. We're going to take a look at Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, which might be, Todd, the best card in Dominaria?
It's really close if it's not. I think Teferi just a very powerful card. You know, once it comes in onto the battlefield, taking up to 5 loyalty, drawing a card, effectively only costing 3 mana, all very, very powerful for a control deck. Being able to minus and get rid of a problematic permanent, also a very good ability. Even though it's temporary, you can use things like Field of Ruin to shuffle them away if you need to. Its ultimate is even better than I thought it was. And it's not that hard to get to. Being able to untap your lands means you have more mana to interact with your opponent. You draw cards, so you have more spells to interact with your opponent. And I've actually gotten to the ultimate on Teferi like multiple times, playing in only like 2 leagues with blue-eye control. Essence
Scatter is going to take care of Rekindling Phoenix. Survive here by Reed.
Yeah, so he's going to be flashing this back just to, you know, not only turn off Search for Escanta, but well, I guess that's it. Just to turn off Search for Escanta.
Turn off Search, make potential Torrential Gearhulks worse. That's basically the function of that. Also, it doesn't look like Reed has much else to do with his mana. Reed can also shuffle back in a couple copies of his Rekindling Phoenixes, but at the same time, he is going to shuffle back in a couple of relevant cards there for Eli. But it just looks like Reed has nothing else better to do, so he's going to play the Aftermath spell.
Yeah, one really cool part about Teferi's plus ability is that once you get Search for Escanta flipped into Escanta the Sunken Ruin, being able to use that 2 times in the same turn cycle, very powerful.
Scavenging Ground's going to go to the graveyard there from Search for Escanta. So Hamblet will draw a mystery card. He's going to play an island for the turn. So Blue-White's got the mana base rolling.
Okay, looks like Eli here going to be casting Approach of the Second Sun. Then he's going to tick up Teferi to dig closer to that approach in a few turns, as well as untapping the 2 lands so he has enough mana to disallow the play that Reed might be playing next turn.
So Approach of the Second Sun is going to gain Eli 7 life. He'll put, of course, this card back into the deck, 7 cards from the top. And it's not hard for him to be able to get to that card with a combination of Ipnu Rivulet, Teferi. He could see it as soon as, 2 turns from now?
Yeah, with the Rivulet for sure. I mean, you know, milling over 4 cards, you get the each draw step plus each draw with Teferi. He might actually, he won't hit it next turn, more than likely, because he's probably going to have to use Disallow on something.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if Reed doesn't play anything threatening here, Eli can 100% just mill 4, untap, draw for turn, draw with Teferi, and I think that's it because he had 1 draw already. That makes it 6 down. Mill 4, 2 down, draw step 1 down, Teferi 0 down. I think.
Okay. Here's Rekindling
I'm
Phoenix.
no scientist.
You're no math scientist?
No, I am a doctor.
Noted. Noted. Rekindling Phoenix has been countered for the 3rd time this game. It's another disallow that's going to take care of that one. Yeah, that disallow will go to the graveyard, not stay on the battlefield.
Reed looking pretty happy right now, if I do say so myself.
I think it's a tough game 1 for Reed, and when we get to the sideboards after game 1, I'm sure things might get a little bit easier. But for now, here's an Ipnu Rivulet. And, of course, yeah, that disallow's got to go in the graveyard because that resolved last turn.
This is actually going to flip the Escanta. I think the game's over, actually. So this is with Search for Escanta on the stack. He also gets to put the top card into the graveyard, which will flip thanks to Ipnu Rivulet. He didn't flip it.
Well, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, he does. He only has 6 mana. He forgot to flip a Search for Escanta.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Oh, botched.
Good point. Good point. Good catch there. Didn't even think about that. Draw a card.
You know, if it was an instant, sure.
Well, I think it'd be a little too good if it was an instant.
Yeah.
For the record. That said, I still think Eli Hamblet is sitting pretty well right now as Reed is going to untap his lone Llanowar Elves. Hamblet's sitting at 15 life, and he's going to concede the game. So, Eli Hamblet's going to win game number 1 here over Reed Duke. Blue-white control up a game over green-red monsters. These players will go to the sideboards. We will do the same here in just a moment. But first, a couple words from our sponsors.
Hooray!
All right, we are back to watch Reed Duke at Green Red Monsters against Eli Hamblet playing Blue White Control. Hamblet won game number 1, so Duke will be on the play for game 2. We'll take a look at his sideboard of 3 Crushing Canopy, 2 Chandra Torch of Defiance, 2 Magma Spray, 2 Chandra's Defeat, 2 Death Gorge Scavenger, an Aether Sphere Harvester, a Life Crafter's Bestiary, a Thrashing Brontodon, and a Vital Force. Some pretty good cards to bring in here, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Reed has so many dead cards in the main deck. A Braid, even though it can kill Torrential Gearhulk, not something you want. Magma Spray also just basically has 0 targets. Struggle to Survive, I'm kind of on the fence on. It could be good enough, but at the same time, the separate might not be worthwhile. Out of the sideboard, we have stuff, more copies of Chandra Torch, Nissa Vital Force. These planes significant threats. Death Gorge Scavenger, also okay. Life Crasher's Bestiary, very good. Thrashing Brontodon, Crushing Canopy, being able to destroy stuff like Seal Away, also pretty good. So he's got a lot of options here.
For Eli Hamblet, 3 Lyra Dawnbringer, maybe the best card that we saw last weekend in Dominaria. A huge reason Rudy Briscoe was able to win with Blue-White Control. You got 2 Gideon's Intervention and Pull from tomorrow, and it's all Primal Tide, the big dinosaur. Angel Sanctions cast out, Spell Pierce Negate, Forsake the Worldly, Baral, Chief of Compliance, Sacred Cat, Meow, and the 4th Fumigate. What are we thinking over here?
I mean, this matchup, I think Lyra Dawnbringer could be good, but the Crushing Canopies from Reed Duke's side are kind of in preparation for Lyra Dawnbringer, while also being very good against the enchantments.
Yep.
So, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Lyra, you open yourself up to getting blown out by Crushing Canopy, but at the same time, the canopies are going to be targeting effectively your removal spells anyway. I don't honestly like all that much else other than maybe the Fumigate, but against stuff like Rekindling Phoenix, the Fumigate's not even that good. So I don't really know how he wants to board this. He doesn't have a ton of cards that are bad, right? Like, he likes the counter spells. He likes Settle. Teferi and Approach are kind of necessary to just get the job done. Like, all of his spells just look really good in the matchup.
That's like a stray blink of an eye that maybe you'd want to sideboard out. I don't know if you like Search for His Content after sideboard in this matchup.
I mean, yes and no. It's one of your best cards in general, and Reed Duke is not that fast, Like, he's mostly reliant on his 4-drops to do the heavy lifting with Rekindling Phoenix and Chandra Torch of Defiance. So even with the Llanowar Elf on the draw, Eli can get a Search for His Content into play and start, filtering his draws as well as flipping it, hopefully, to take control of the match.
Rootbound Crag is where Reed will start for Eli Hamblet. It's an island. A second Rootbound Crag means that Reed has not had an explosive start in either one of these games. No mana accelerant into, like, Jadelight Ranger or, like, turn 3 Rekindling Phoenix. We haven't seen any sort of explosion here for Reed at all.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, after sideboard, his deck is full of just more powerful cards, and he's not really a good aggressive deck. Like, his 2-drops are Servant of the Conduit and Merfolk Branchwalker. These are cards that are just trying to help you develop your mana so that your bigger spells can come online either faster or more consistently.
Well, there's Reed's first test spell in Chandra Torch of Defiance. That's going to get countered via Disallow. And Reed will pass the turn back over to Eli. So Eli not under a ton of pressure with his blue-white control deck. Doesn't have Search going like he did last game, but he's got 4 lands thus far, though I imagine he'd probably want that 4th one in the battlefield untapped for maybe one of his card-drawing spells.
Oh, for sure. I mean, sometimes, like, you're off-curve a little bit with stuff like Sheltered Thicket, but, you got to get it onto the battlefield. Turning on the Rootbound Crags later on is also pretty good. But, if it's going to be your 4th land and you can put it onto the battlefield on turn 3, that's good enough.
It's a Chandra Torch of Defiance. It's going to add red mana to cast Old Branchy, which is going to get hit by Nest and Scatter. See, that's the best Branchwalker ever.
Yeah.
What do you think about Branchwalker now?
I mean, it's fine. I think that's even people who like it and play with it, they're never like, this card is great. They're always like, it's okay.
It's just kind of a filler.
It does a thing.
It's kind of like Borderland Ranger was way back in the day. As we're getting our scoreboard updated here, you're going to see at the very top, William Jensen 2-0 over Christopher Gosselin as Sneak and Show wins over Reanimator. And I'm getting word now that Owen Turtenwald with Black-Red Hollow One, a deck he's written about on StarCityGames.com on the premium side, won his match over Gabe Schwartz playing Goryo's Vengeance 2-0. It does look like Hamblet and Duke will appease us here and play out the rest of this game. So we'll stick and stay with them as Glorybringer and Chandra are starting to mop up blue-white control.
Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah. Well, it's like a little early testing.
Yeah.
Reed getting his feet wet with green-red, Eli getting his feet wet with blue-white.
Trying to shake the dust off,
Yeah.
you know?
Make sure the coffee's kicked in.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I actually think that Eli is in really good shape here, and this Teferi, like it can. I mean, he's behind on the battlefield, obviously, but at the same time, like he probably has a seal away for this Glorybringer. Chandra can no longer damage Planeswalkers, which I think is ridiculous. just changes the functionality of the card.
Makes it a little bit worse.
A little bit.
A little worse.
I mean, you can't Chandra a Chandra anymore, and that was usually the best ability.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, obviously Reduke's in a good spot right here, but this Glorybringer probably not going to be able to deal damage to Teferi. If Reed has a Crushing Canopy, that's something that's actually kind of cool. All of these enchantments that say exile, a creature, if it's XYZ, or until the enchantment leaves the battlefield.
Okay.
If you kill it with the trigger on the stack, it's kind of the reverse of how it used to be. If you killed an Oblivion Ring with the trigger on the stack, the permanent's gone forever.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. Seal Away and the cycling one.
Cast out.
I'm very nervous. I apologize.
It's okay.
I'm trying my best.
That's why I'm here.
Seal Away, Cast Out. These enchantments, if they get destroyed with the trigger on the stack, the creature never leaves play. It's still in combat.
So it's still attacking.
Yes.
Okay, that's important actually.
Yeah, it is.
That's important.
Unluckily for Reed, he did not have the Crushing Canopy here, so the Seal Away takes care of the Glorybringer. Now, if he has a different way to deal with Chandra, he doesn't have to minus his Teferi, but he has the Teferi here to minus to protect himself from the Chandra ultimate. Might also have a disallow.
I was going to say, feeling pretty confident to just plus Teferi here as opposed to tucking away the Chandra. Keep in mind, Teferi, part of the power of that card is it can tuck away anything.
Oh, non-land.
Yeah, well, you would think would think it would only be a creature.
I mean,
planeswalkers, enchantments, like a lot of really good stuff. As here is Lyra Dawnbringer.
I heard a lot of people compare Teferi to Old Vraska.
Okay.
Old Vraska could kill planeswalkers, enchantments, like the whole nine. I'm pretty sure it was non-land permanent for the minus.
Okay.
And we haven't had a planeswalker that could do that since Old Vraska.
Okay.
And now that Teferi's here, it can tuck. It doesn't quite destroy, but the plus ability is way better.
Yes.
Drawing a card versus, your guy has to attack or whatever.
A lot better. A lot better.
Has to attack, and also if it hits the Gorgon, it dies.
Yes. Which, flavor-wise, cool.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Sure.
There's the disallow. So take a look at that turn. That's Teferi enabled. Drew a card. Let Eli Hamblet play Lyra, and then untap 2 lands to be able to disallow Chandra's ultimate.
Oh, yeah.
That's a heck of a turn.
And now you got Baneslayer Angel facing down a creature that can't attack. Until, I guess 5 mana has to be Glorybringer, right?
Almost assuredly.
Okay. All right.
Which, cool.
Yeah, I mean, Ronus can attack, but Ronus cannot kill Teferi because it's at 6.
Yep.
Lyra Dawnbringer can block if it wants to, but I'm assuming Teferi just going to go down to 1.
I think Teferi's just going to fall down to 1.
It's just going to go 1.
Yeah.
That's fine.
There's a Shelter Thicket for Reed Duke, and we're going to head back over to Eli. You're seeing some of the power of the Blue Eye Control deck right now. This deck got a lot of upgrades with Teferi and Lyra, and the power level of the deck is Torrential Gearhulk's going to the graveyard?
In the graveyard?
His hand must be good.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
But you see the power upgrades to the deck. Teferi,
Oh,
Lyra.
I know why.
What we got?
He had an approach in hand. He's just trying to hit 7th land because he has the Ibnu Rivulet. Like, he's trying to do the same kind of thing he did last game. Where
He's got 2 approaches in hand. Jeez.
Yeah, well, he drew one after he binned the first one, I believe.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, he was trying to do the whole song and dance, use Ibnu Rivulet, mill 4, etc., etc. Trying to hit lands. Oh, he's also wanting to spend mana on his own turn because he gets to untap 2.
Yep.
So main phasing this Glimmer of Genius is fine. He gets to untap 2 lands, sits back on 5 mana, holds back Glorybringer. Looks like he has Settle the Wreckage in hand and a Disallow. He's got the World's Fair.
I think he's doing okay.
He's doing all right.
I think Eli Hamblet's doing okay. His team, unfortunately, is not going to win the match, but it looks like Eli was going to win his against Reed Duke.
You know what we call it in the business?
What's that?
We call that a loss.
That is the loss. That is the loss. As a team, that is a loss. That is a loss.
That's one of my least favorite things about team tournaments. Actually, it might be my only thing I don't like about team tournaments is when you lose and your teammates like, I won, but my teammates lost.
Yeah.
Don't be that. Don't be that friend.
Yeah. This would have been a really nice Settle the Wreckage game. Now here's the third Chandra Torch of Defiance. We can, as this match technically is over, but we're still playing out this game. And if Reed wins game 2, we'll see if they want to play the third game and entertain us. But You know, we can draw some conclusions from this. Chandra's good in this matchup.
Oh, yeah,
I think.
for sure. I mean, Chandra is just good. Wow. Well, if he has cast out here, he could actually cast out the Glorybringer, and then the Lyra survives, which is kind of interesting.
Could also disallow that Chandra activation, which would be kind of nice.
No, I think he's just holding up for Settle the Wreckage. He's just letting this happen. He's going to settle Ronus and Glorybringer. This Reed doing a heads-up play here. He's actually going to attack with just Glorybringer, I bet.
Okay.
Shooting down the Lyra Dawnbringer. And then Eli actually has the option to disallow the Glorybringer trigger and then block first strike, kill it, then attack Chandra on the way back.
I want that.
I want that, too.
I want to do that. I want to do that. I think he's looking at a seal away, too, but I like this disallow play.
Oh, yeah. Gain 5. You know, wipe out your entire turn for 3 mana. You know, he didn't attack with the Ronus to play around the Settle the Wreckage. He wanted to attack with the Glorybringer to try to clear off the Lyra Dawnbringer.
Disallow's really good.
It's great.
I didn't
for a long
that.
time, the stoppability part of it was not much of a factor. Like, I thought, it wasn't Dissipate. What was the one that was like Dissipate that exiled? The colorless one from Battle for Zendikar?
Void Shatter?
Yes. I thought Void Shatter was better for a while, and they were in the same format for a few months.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was like, exiling is better in a lot of format, or a lot of times in the format because there are so many graveyard relevant things. Like, at the time, there was, like, the zombie that could come out of the graveyard that made a spirits. There was a lot of graveyard-related things back then. You know, that was Smuggler's Copter era.
Yep.
There was a lot of graveyard-type shenanigans going on. But, you know, disallow, you know, you get to see a lot of these tiny things like right there. It just completely annihilated Reed Duke, one of the best players in the game.
Yeah.
Just a single disallow on a Glorybringer trigger. Eat it.
Yes. And now he can kill the Chandra if he wants. Here's the first approach. Eli actually has second approach in hand. So assuming Eli resolves his approach correctly, yep, you're going to want to put that back. There you go. That's one of the good parts about the card. See, it goes back. Here we go.
Yeah, he's got the other one in hand.
Yeah. Reed doesn't know that, but we certainly
My guess
do.
is this match is also not technically part of the DCI.
I don't know how that works. given that the total match is over, I'm going to try to keep it clean here on the SCG
Oh,
tour.
for sure. Don't want any shenanigans going on. Honestly, he's at 25. Looks like after the game 7.
Yeah.
I might have attacked and killed the Chandra just to keep him off of a card, but you know I'm fine. Also holding back the Lyra to protect your Teferi a little bit.
Rita reveal a Rootbound Crag. Down to 23 now. Thank you very much.
Zap.
Yeah, getting really close.
Man, it really stinks that you can't kill Teferi with Chandra. I can't get over it. It's stuck in my brain.
It seems like a
It's
bit
like,
of a flavor fail.
It's like that Friday song.
I don't know what that is.
You know, Friday. It's stuck in your head forever.
Oh, no, why did you do that?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Why?
Yeah.
What? Rebecca Black? Why?
Yes.
It's the first and last time you're in the booth if you bring up Friday again.
Good.
Eli's going to draw. I think he's going to play a second approach.
I was going to say, is he going to play the spell that wins the game?
Yes, he will.
He found the line.
Yes, he did.
It's
Eli
over.
Hamblet will win his part of the match, but at the end of the day,